This is why Trump won. This is why he's appealing to people. This is why he's appealing to people that even voted for Kamala Harris, especially to y'all fellas out there that voted for Kamala Harris. Y'all only did it because probably your wife or your girlfriend, or you didn't want your homegirls to be looking at you funny. Let's just be honest, because I know there was a whole lot of that.
Oh my God.
You guys tell me if things are aligned. You guys give me your feedback on it. You guys tell me exactly how you think.
President Trump plunged the country into chaos without a shred of warning. The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country. In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs, in rural areas. It is just outrageous. Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need.
Whoa. Did he just say law enforcement?
The average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs, in rural areas. It is just outrageous. Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals.
Disaster assistance. Wasn't Mayorkas? Didn't they move some funding around for FEMA? I forget the exact story. They moved some funding around to different areas or something. I believe they sent money. Wasn't it a situation where we sent money to another country and then Hurricane Helene happened and Mayorkas was saying we don't have any money? But now Chuck Schumer's getting on here and talking about Trump, talking about the programs that he's getting rid of, that they went towards disaster assistance. And notice how he said law enforcement, right?
It is just outrageous. Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement.
These people, like, it's to the point where people, if you're voting Democrat, please, if you're voting for whoever, just be able to look at this stuff with a certain level of objectivity that allows you to see past the BS. Just 4.5 years ago, the Democrats were the party that were screaming, defund the police. So when an incident happens, George Floyd, it's okay for the rest of the country. It's okay for Democrats, politicians to use their voice, to use their influence to cause an uprising, we talk about Trump and saying that he caused this insurrection. Let's take a step back 5 years ago. We were supposed to be in the House and Democrats and liberals were okaying people to go out and protest. They didn't say anything when people were burning down, taking over police precincts, burning down stores, burning down cities. It seemed like taking over cities. And then they were the ones screaming to defund the police. These were the people screaming to defund the police. Now, when Trump does something, you want to shine a light and saying he's taking away money from local law enforcement. You don't get to play it both sides. This is why these people, they don't even realize. This is why Trump won. This is why he's appealing to people. This is why he's appealing to people that even voted for Kamala Harris, especially to y'all fellas out there that voted for Kamala Harris. Y'all only did it because probably your wife or your girlfriend, or you didn't want your homegirls to be looking at you funny. Let's just be honest, because I know there was a whole lot of that. This is why Trump won. He doesn't play these political games like these people play. Matter of fact, it's like he says he's doing exactly the things that he said he was going to do. That's why people are so surprised. It's like the people voted for him to do all this stuff. Get rid of the migrant crisis, stop the migrant crisis. This is what people voted for him for. And these Democrats, they don't even realize they're standing up against it, trying to save the migrants, save this. And just because it's against Trump, they don't even realize, yo, the people voted for this. The people spoke. Do we realize we live in a country where there's a lot more from my understanding, there's a lot more Democrats than Republicans in this country. So when Democrats lose, maybe that's something that you should really look at and say, like, how did this happen? Instead of just keep playing the same back and forth games. Let's keep going.
Rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need, all are on the chopping block in this new administration.
The fear monger.
Why? They need tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. And just like the January 6th pardons,
they keep telling y'all it's tax cuts for the wealthy. Yo, I'm interested to see how all this plays out. I'm interested to see how all this plays out because they act as if Trump is only doing stuff for the wealthy. If Trump can start pulling up receipts showing maybe people in the middle class, maybe people in the low class, whatever class, that he's actually saving them some money, it's going to get very interesting, very spooky for the Democrats, as if it's not already there.
this decision is lawless, dangerous, destructive, cruel. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. I spoke to my Attorney General this morning. She's head of the State Attorneys General Association. They're going to court right away on this horror.
Man, yo, politicians shouldn't be able to read. You shouldn't be able to read. You should have to go up there and I think my Doug said it the other day. He said when pastors are reading the script, yo, say what you have to say. Put the paper away. Have a conversation with me. Have a conversation with me. Instead, you're reading. It's I don't know. It is what it is. All right, so let's go to the White House press secretary. Let's hear, based on what Chuck Schumer just said, there's a lot of terrible things that Donald Trump is putting in place. So let's see what they have to say on their side.
Substantive question. Yesterday, the White House Office of Management and Budget directed across the board freeze, with some exceptions for individual assistance, we understand, to federal grants. It's caused a lot of confusion around the country among Head Start providers, among providers services to homeless veterans, Medicaid providers, states saying they're having trouble accessing the portal. Could you help us clear up some of the confusion, give some certainty to folks, and also is that uncertainty, how does that uncertainty service the president's voters?
Well, I think there's only uncertainty in this room amongst the media. There's no uncertainty in this building. So let me provide.
Yo, by the way, I had no idea she's only 27 years old. Sharp. I don't know what I'm just telling you how she's responding to stuff. Sharp. I don't know what her morals are. I don't know. Sharp.
The certainty and the clarity that all of you need. This is not a blanket pause on federal assistance and grant programs from the Trump administration. Individual assistance, that includes, I'm not naming everything that's included, but just to give you a few examples, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause. And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that. However, it is the responsibility of this president and this administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That is something that President Trump campaigned on. That's why he has launched DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, who is working alongside OMB. And that's why OMB sent out this memo last night, because the president signed an executive order directing OMB to do just this. And the reason for this is to ensure that every penny that is going out the door is not conflicting with the executive orders and actions that this president has taken. So what does this pause mean? It means no more funding for illegal DEI programs. It means no more funding for the Green New scam that has cost American taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. It means no more funding for transgenderism and wokeness across our federal bureaucracy and agencies. No more funding for Green New Deal social engineering policies. Again, people who are receiving individual assistance, you will continue to receive that. And President Trump is looking out for you by issuing this pause because he is being good steward of your taxpayer dollars.
Thanks, Caroline.
Sure.
How long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke with the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies. I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working.
Can I just intervene here for a second, because she's on a roll? Honestly, I just had to look up her age again. Isn't this what people are asking for? Like, isn't this what people are asking for? To pay less taxes across the board? To not have our tax dollars go to these programs that it literally just seems like we're just funneling money and laundering money. I don't know what it is. Just throwing money at these different efforts and agendas that the majority of Americans don't support. Isn't this what, if this puts more money in your pocket, how would you feel about it? How does the government make money? The government only makes money a few different ways. Taxes that they collect from the citizens, or to get into the market. And if the government gets into the market, then that means it's competing against the citizens that are in the market. The only other way is tariffs. So Trump has put tariffs on y'all know he loves the tariffs. He uses it as leverage. He did it with Colombia. He's putting tariffs on all these other countries. He's incentivizing people to do business. He's incentivizing companies to have their companies in America. So therefore we can hire more American workers. So we can control a lot more of the market. So we're not banking on getting things from overseas, from a lot of our competitors that are not necessarily aligned with us. Like a lot of the places we're getting stuff from, we consider these people our enemies, but then we get all of our stuff from China. We consider them our competitors, but we're supporting their businesses. How does that make sense? So if he's implementing tariffs, if he's stopping a lot of the funding going to, and a lot of y'all may be saying, well, what is this funding that's being sent over to all these different countries? Clearly, y'all just saw the former president of Kenya. He didn't seem to disagree with it. He said, that's what he should be doing. Looking out for his people first, looking out for his country, American citizens. Have we become so emotional and illogical that now everything, just because it's Trump that's doing it, we're just going to look at it as if it's a negative thing? This is how we get in trouble. This is why Black people have voted blindly with the Democratic Party for so long and have gotten nothing in return, because we're still here in 2025 complaining about the same problems as if we're in the 50s or dealing with Jim Crow. This is why, because we move with so much emotion. We're manipulated and bamboozled with emotional manipulation, and it just lands us in the same position. Let's keep going.
And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOJ and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOJ and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous.
$50 million to fund condoms in Gaza. I don't. I don't get it. I really just don't get it. It's like, how are we? Matter of fact, you know what's so crazy? I'm just appreciative of the fact that we're finding out about a lot of this stuff. Because truth be told, a lot of this stuff wasn't brought to the forefront. Trump has been in office a week and a few days, a week and 2 days. And think about the things that are being exposed. We got the RFK, JFK, MLK files getting out there. We have more transparency with our government spending than we've ever had before. What's the problem? What's really the issue here? Shouldn't we be celebrating these things? I don't want my money going towards Gaza's got to fund their own condoms.
Waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
So now let's pivot a bit. Let's hear from Trump. Let's hear what Trump had to say on it, because she could be saying all this stuff. It sounds good. Let's actually hear what Trump had to say on it. Let me make sure that this is shared. 1 second, excuse me.
We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI.
Hold on.
We identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts.
I just want to focus on the illegal alien settlement, because this is a point that I missed when the former president of Kenya was speaking. If he said that that's what a president's supposed to do, prioritize the American citizens, how when we think about infrastructure, right? If Chuck Schumer thinks that it's very bad for us to not have enough funding for local law enforcement, then shouldn't a light or an alarm go off, a bell go off, where you realize that, okay, the LA fire chief, she's been complaining that they're underfunded, right? Police saying that they're underfunded, right? If we're spending all these money on all these different areas, but we're not even taking care of the police and fire in our own country, how does this make sense? How does this make sense? What did the former president of Kenya said? You look out for your own citizens first. Why are we prioritizing and incentivizing people to come over here that we know we're going to have our citizens use our tax dollars to take care of them? Why are we asking them to come, incentivizing them to come, putting all of our tax dollars into them, or a lot of our tax dollars into them, if we can't even afford to have proper policing and give them everything, all the support and the funding that they need in order to do their jobs? These are the people that protect us, fire and police. Shouldn't that be prioritized over any other thing that comes to illegal migrants?
It's just for the training about that. We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization. which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also, thank you.
Please make sure that you like and subscribe. That's going to help boost the algorithm, get as many different perspectives in on the conversation as possible. That's what we shoot for. Thank you in advance.
We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. You can imagine where that money went. These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found, and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places.
This is the difference between a politician and a businessman. Politicians just spend money without even caring the debt that we go in, where the money's coming from. They just feel that we can just print more. Trump comes in, he's already Doge. They're already getting more efficient. Another area that they're getting more efficient in is a video that I'm going to share with you guys now, where, and this has been something that a lot of people are talking about with the federal employees. Take a look at this video. Take a look at this video. You guys let me know your thoughts. Because apparently a lot of the federal employees, like in my opinion, when I hear the deal that these federal employees are getting, first off, I don't know if this number is correct, but I think that they said like only 6% of federal employees were reporting to the office. If that's that sounds a little bit crazy to me. So maybe I have the wrong number. Totally open to being wrong. Actually, I'm going to assume that I'm wrong because that just sounds a little bit crazy. I forget which videos. I watch so many of these videos throughout the day. Sometimes I forget exactly where the information is coming from. And sometimes I forget when I'm daydreaming compared to actually hearing a video, just being totally honest with y'all. All right, so take a look at this video and we're just going to continue the convo. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. Appreciate it.
Just for clarification purposes, because it was incorrectly reported yesterday, we have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them.
Can I ask y'all, like, why are people so upset with this? Like, these are federal employees. Yeah, you have to go to the office or find another job. And I don't know too many people that are offering you where it's like, okay, if you don't want to come in, we'll pay you to September. They're talking about paying people for 8 months. What are people complaining about? Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off in the things that I'm hearing. Maybe I'm off in how I'm processing this, but I just don't understand. The goal is to trim down, and I believe Trump has talked about it before. He may touch on it right here, but the goal has been for a lot of presidents to shrink the government. It's grown too big. And who do you think? It's like, who do you think pays for these federal employees? Where do you think they get those funds from? It comes from, I'm assuming, tax dollars, right? Either tax dollars or they're printing money, which is going to cause inflation. So yeah, it's okay for us to say like, yo, first off, we got to shrink this government. It's too big. It needs to become more efficient. Isn't that what it's, but see, that's the difference once again between a politician and a business person. A business person trims fat, wants to be more efficient. Politicians, they don't care. They do not care.
We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard.
It's unfair even if you're not working hard because you're paying for them. If you have a federal job and you're not working, we know how this goes. You're at home, you're not working. Most people, I don't know. Look, maybe you are the exception to where when you stay at home, you're working harder than when you actually go into the office. Maybe you're the exception, but think about the rule, not you, because you're special. We're talking about everybody. That's like being a coach and telling the kids, hey, you're going to do all these different things. and the coach not showing up at practice. No coach is being there and expecting them to do exactly and hold it to the same standard that a coach would. If that was the case, then we wouldn't need coaches. People are not working. Look, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on Amazon, you're on your whatever store that you're breezing through. You're looking at vacation spots. No, that's not what I want. What I want my dollars going to. Maybe you guys feel differently. I don't know.
From job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government. They're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful, as you understand. A lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't in any.
Nah. And I know a lot of people that work these federal jobs and they brag about the bet. No. That's why people want all these government contracts. That's why even when I used to do the medical device sales, people always wanted to sell products to like the VAs. Like you go to the Bronx VA hospital and you sell your product to them and they're damn near overpaying for the product. Because they don't care. It's not coming out of their pockets. So they'll pay extra. Where is that money coming from? The taxpayers. This is the difference between a politician and a business person.
In the event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly.
It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real